Hey everyone, and welcome back to NPStation. Today we are going to be creating an interactive dictionary in Python. Now don't worry, I have not stopped the Flappy Bird series. Keep an eye out on NPStation for the fourth part of that series, which will be coming out soon. But today I just thought we would take a break for one video, and I wanted to show you this amazing project that I've created called an interactive dictionary. Make sure to stay tuned to the end of this video and follow along with me in typing the code, as the output is super cool. Now before we get started, if you want to type or follow along with me in typing the code, you will need to go to the description box of this video and open the link that I have there. It will take you to this window that I have opened in Google, and this is actually a dictionary file that I found in GitHub. So we will need this huge file. You can see that it has all these words A through Z with the meanings. So we will need this whole file. So once you have opened it, make sure to just right click here, and then you're going to do save as. So make sure to save this file in the folder you have open in Visual Studio, because you're going to want to see it there. So you're just going to go to whatever folder you're using, and once you save it, you should be able to see that file in your Visual Studio. So you can see it says dictionary.json, and this is the entire file. It has opened in Visual Studio. On the right side of my screen, it has all of these words with the meanings. So once you're done with that, let's just go back to our interactive dictionary file, and here, let's get started with our code. So we're going to start off by importing a JSON module. I think this is the first time that we're actually using this module on this Python series on NPStation. For those who don't know, JSON stands for JavaScript Object Notation. So here we're just importing the JSON module so we can work with all the different methods. Now let's create a variable called fin, which will be equal to open. And in here, go back to your dictionary.json file, right click, and it should open all of these options. It will come up with a copy relative path. Once you click on that, it will copy it, and you just do Control V to paste it in this quotation here. So that we need to do that because we are going to be using that dictionary.json file for our interactive dictionary project. And we're going to open it in read mode as well. So that's what that R is doing there. Now that we're done with that, let's create a variable called cont. That'll be equal to json.load, and in parentheses we'll have fin. So how about we just go ahead, and I'm going to create some comments here. Make sure to do this. Please create these comments, because it is super important and helpful when you're rereading this whole project, so you know exactly what each line of code is doing. So for this fin variable, we are opening the dictionary .json file in read mode. Okay, and let's create another comment for the second line, which will be we're reading the contents, right? That's why we have cont. Reading the contents for JSON file to the cont object. Okay, so we finished those comments there. Now let's create our menu for the interactive dictionary. So how about I actually put that as a comment here, because we need to know exactly what this is doing and what it is. Now let's go ahead and write in a while true. We're also going to have a try block in this as well, and here open up a print function with 3 quotations. Make sure to end it at the end as well, so you don't have that underlined with an error. So in this print function, we're going to type what the user is going to see as soon as they run their code. So how about we just put in our title in here, interactive dictionary, since that is what our project is. And I'm just going to style it a little, just put it like a space in between each of these letters. You can do whatever you would like. So just so you know, it kind of looks better. And how about we split this up here, just like this. So in here, we're going to be typing 6 different commands that the user will be able to choose from. And that is kind of like the main commands of our project. So our first command will be to display the words. Oops, I am in caps lock. Let me take that off. Display the words that begin with a specific letter. Our second command will be to find a specific word. And again, this is all going to be connected to our dictionary.json file. So our third command will be to display the meaning of the word. Actually, we'll have to say of the specific word, because the fourth command would be a little bit similar. Display the word meanings, right, for the specific word that, let me speak. Okay, so a specific word that is there in the meaning. So I know that might be a little bit confusing, but I will explain it in just a few seconds. Here is fifth command, search and display words by the number of letters. And our final command will be to just exit the program. Okay, so we're finally done with that huge print function. So again, this is what the user will be seeing once they run their code, and they will be able to choose from these 6 different options. So in this while true, also creates a choice variable, which will be equal to int input. And then here, let me fix that spelling. I don't think I can type today. Alright, so in here we'll have our statement, enter your choice of operation. So this is what the user will see as well. And we'll just give the numbers that they should choose from, either from 1 through 6. And that is all for that choice variable. Now let's go ahead and create 6 different if conditions for our project. So we'll need these if conditions because we need to check which command the user has chosen, right? So once they enter any number over here from 1 through 6, we're going to go to these if conditions and check which one they entered. So if choice is equal to 1, meaning if the user chose the first command, we're going to call a specific function. Of course, we haven't created any functions yet, but I'm just going to create a random function name, which we'll be creating later. So this one we can just say display words. How about that? Because the first function is to display the words that begin with a specific letter. You can name your functions anything you would like. Make sure they relate to what that command is doing. So elif choice is equal to 2. Find a specific word. So let's do find word, just like this. Elif choice is equal to 3. Here, let's see, display the meaning of a specific word. So we'll have just display M. And then elif choice is equal to 4. Display, oh, I need to fix this spelling here. Display the word meanings for the specific word that is there in the meaning. So this might be a little bit confusing, so let me just go ahead and explain this to you guys, but let me just first create that function name, display specific meaning. So this command right here is going to search a specific word that the user has entered in the input, and it's gonna search our dictionary.json file for that word. And wherever it appears, it is going to print out that word and the meaning of that word. So let's say the user enters the word officer. So if we do Control F and search officer, you can see that this word appears 910 times throughout this file. So it is going to print all of those word and word meanings as the output. So let's go ahead, continue on with our code. elif choice is, oh my gosh, I cannot spell today. elif choice is equal to 5. And let's see, search and display display words by number of letters. So we'll just write in here search and search number of letters. Okay, now we also, this is basically our last elif for our 6th option. So elif choice is equal to 6. And since the 6th option is just exiting the code, all we have to do is break. So by writing this function break, it is just going to quit the program. And lastly, let's go ahead and write in an else statement. And here we'll have a print function, which will print invalid number. Enter any number between 1 through 6. Okay. So what this else statement will come in handy is when the user, oops, I don't know what happened there, is when the user, let's say they enter the number 10. But you can see we only have 6 options, so that's why it will not go through any of these if conditions. It is going to go straight to the else statement and print the invalid number statement. And it's going to ask the user again to enter any number between 1 through 6. Okay, so now we're done with all of these functions. Let's go ahead and actually create them. So let's go ahead back up right before our while true. And here, let's create our first function, which will be, let's see what we named it, display words. Def display words. Okay, there we go. Now, how about we just put in a comment here? Make sure to do the same because comments are so important and helpful when you're rereading your whole project, because this is going to be quite a large one, not as big as our Flappy Bird project, definitely, but this will be a pretty large file, so it will be important for you to know exactly what each line of code does. So this comment is going to say what this function is going to do. So it's going to display words that begin with a specific letter, right? That's what we have in this menu here. So in our function, what we need to do is create a variable called letter in equals input, and in parentheses we'll have enter the letter to display the words with which it begins with, right? So the user will be able to type in any letter of their choice right there. Now we need to create a for loop. For I in cont, we're going to have a if condition. If I dot, there is actually a built-in function that comes with this. Let's see. I'm pretty sure it is starts with. So if I dot starts with, and in here we'll have letter, right? Because we need to check the file here, the dictionary.json file. We need to check all of these words that are in blue and if they start with that letter that the user has entered. So if I that starts with letter, oh, don't forget that colon there, then we're going to print I. So it will print all of the words that start with that letter. And guess what? You are done with your first function. So you can see we have defined this words here. So if you go down, it doesn't underline it anymore because we have defined it. Now let's move on to our second function, which is to find a specific word, and we have named it find word. So def find word. Again, let's create a comment here. So this will be a function to find a word and display display whether it is in the dictionary or not. Okay, so we finished that. Now let's continue on in our function. So here, we're going to create a variable called word. It's going to be equal to input. And let's see, the user or the computer will ask the user to enter the word to check in the dictionary, right? Because we need to look for a specific word. So here, the user will be able to enter a word of their choice to check in the dictionary. Now, we also, you can see here that all of these words that are in this dictionary, you know, all the words which are in blue are all lowercase. They don't start with an uppercase letter. So that's why we're just going to go ahead and write in dot lower. So it converts whatever the user types in here into lowercase. So let's say, let's just pretend that we have run the code and the computer asks this statement. So if the user accidentally types something like this, like plants, then it's going to convert it into lowercase. So that comes in handy a lot, just in case the user makes a mistake. So now, after this variable, we're going to create another variable called found equals true, okay? Or sorry, not true. We need to make it equal to false first. And here, let's create a for loop for I in cont, and then we have a if condition. If I is equal to word, meaning if there is a word in the dictionary, which will stand for I, and if that equals to the word that the user has entered here, then we are going to say found equals to true, right? Because we had said that found is equal to false, but since that word has now been found in the dictionary, we're going to make it equal to true. And then we'll also have another if condition. Make sure you're in the same indentation as the for loop. If found is equal to false, we need to check if it is not found. Then we'll have this print function be printed on the screen. No such word exists in the dictionary. Okay, so then we also need an else statement, right? So else print it is there in the dictionary. In the dictionary. So this else statement will be printed. Will be printed if the user enters a word that is actually existing in the dictionary.json file. So I think that is actually all for our find word function. Now, again, it is not underlined here as we have defined it. So our next one for the third option is to display the meaning of a specific word. Okay, so let's go ahead. Back up here. Def, let's see what we named it. Disp. So let's create our comment for this function here, which will say what this function will do. So function to display the meaning, right? Display the meaning. Okay, now let's continue in our function here. So again, we're going to create that word variable with our input. It's going to say enter the word to check the meaning of. Okay, now we're done with that. Oh, and we also have to do that same thing as above with the dot lower. So here the user will be able to enter any word that they want to check the meaning of it. So let's go ahead and have that found is equal to false. And we'll also create our for loop. So here we'll have to say for key, comma, value in cont dot items. Just like this. So our key and value, for those who don't know, this is the key and this will be the value. So that you can see we have a lot of keys. The keys are the words, the values is the meaning of the word. So let's go back here. We're checking our key and the value that are in the cont.items, and let's just put a quotation there. And here we'll have an if condition. So if key is equal to word, meaning if there is a key in our dictionary.json file that is equal to the word that the users entered here, then, you guessed it, found is equal to true. Right? So since found is equal to true, wait, let me just fix this. It should not be words, it's word. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so now we have found is equal to true, and since it is, we'll print out this function here. Open up empty curly brackets. Word has meaning. We'll have another bracket. And then dot format, in parentheses, key, comma, value. Okay, so this print function will basically print the word that the users entered, and the meaning will go in these curly brackets. So now, after our print function, click backspace so you're in the same indentation as the for loop. We'll have the other if condition. It will be if found is equal to false, meaning if the user enters a word that is not in the dictionary file, then we'll print no such word exists. There we go. So now we're done with our, what is that, third function. So let's move on to our fourth command, which is to display the word meanings for the specific word that is there in the meaning. Okay. How about we go ahead, create our comment for this function, which will be function to display word meanings for the specific word that is there in the meaning. Okay. Now let's create our name. The function is display sm. Disp sm. And in here, let's create that word variable. Word equals input. This function will be quite similar to the one above, as we are, looking for a word in the dictionary, like the function above. So enter a word to be searched in the dictionary and to display the meaning of. So there we go. Now we'll have our found is equal to false and our for loop. For key, comma, value. But here, oh, let me fix that. There we go. For key, comma, value. And we'll have it in cont.items. We'll check here if key is equal to the word that the user enters, or word in value. In value. So you can see that above here we had only written if key is equal to word. But here we are actually writing if key is equal to word, and we're also including the second option, word in value. So this is the same as saying value is equal to word, like key is equal to word. Because here we need to check the values as well. If that word the user enters is in the value or the key, then it will come up for this, option. So if that is true, we'll say found is equal to true, right? Because that word has been found. And let's put in our print function. So print word, curly brackets, and then we'll have the meaning, curly bracket, dot format, key, comma, value. So that's just the format of how it'll be printed. And then let's put in that other if condition. So if found is equal to false, we'll have our print function. Print no such word in dictionary. There we go. Alright, now we are done with our fourth option. Let's go ahead to our fifth one. So this one says search and display words by number of letters. So this one is a little bit, more, it's a easier one than the ones we have done. So let's go ahead and create that comment. We'll say search words by number of letters. Okay, so let's just define it here. So search an O, and then here what we'll do, make sure to create a variable called num for number, and then we'll have int input, not only input, but we also have our int because the user will enter an integer, right? Integer means number, input, and in our quotation we'll have enter number of letters of the length of the word. Okay, so now the user will enter any number they would like right there, and then we'll have our found is equal to false. Create your for loop, for key in cont, and then our if condition will say if the length of the key, right, the key again, the words, the blue words, that is the key. So if the length of the key is equal to the number that the user has entered, we're going to print key. We're going to print the key, and we're going to make found equal to true. Next if condition. If found is equal to false. I know this is a little bit, there's a lot of repetition for these, especially the if found is equal to false. No words with this specific, there we go, meaning or length. There we go. Okay, we are finally done with all of our functions. Except I have to fix the spelling here. Search words by number of letters. There we go. Okay, so you still see we have one error, and that is because to end a try block, we need an except, right? So make sure to go in that same indentation as your try, which should be the second one. And here, write in except. And our next sign will be a print function, which will state invalid invalid input. There we go. And now you can see we don't have any more errors in this code. So this is our entire interactive dictionary project. Let's go ahead and run it. Hopefully it works without any errors. Okay, there you go, guys. It has printed out the 6 commands for our project, and you can see it says to enter your choice of operation 1 through 6. Let's start off with operation 1. And it says enter the letter to display that word with which it begins with. I just have to fix the wording. So let's go ahead and put in the letter F. All of the words that start with the letter F are printed as the output. So that's super cool. You can see there are a lot of words. Now let's go to our second option, which is to find a specific word. So here it asks, enter the word to check in the dictionary. Okay, what should we check? How about park? And you can see that it says it is there in the dictionary. That means that park exists in our dictionary file. Let's check another one, dog. That says invalid input. Oh, because I'm supposed to enter a number there. So let's see, 2. Now let's enter dog. There we go. It is there in the dictionary. Okay, so that's awesome. Now let's do our third option, which is to display the meaning of a specific word. So enter the word to check the meaning of. How about we do ghost? And you can see here that ghost does exist in the dictionary, and it gives the meaning of the word ghost. That is super cool. Now let's check our fourth command. Display the word meanings for the specific word that is there in the meaning. Okay, how about plants? Alright, so you can see all of the words with the word plants in the meaning or in the word itself is being printed as the output. You can see there are a lot of words. There we go. Alright, So you can see all of these words have the word plant. We can you can put any word you would like there. Now let's do our fifth condition or operation, which is to search and display words by number of letters. So we're gonna enter a number in here. Let's do 10. Alright, so all of these words have 10 letters, and it's going to print all of them from our dictionary.json file. And our final operation is the sixth one, which is to exit the code. Alright guys, that is all for today's video. I hope you had fun coding this project. If you did, give this video a big thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to NPStation. Keep an eye out on my YouTube channel for upcoming videos in the Flappy Bird series, as well as other book reviews and Python videos. But that's all for today guys. Keep reading, keep coding, and stay safe.